Tony Morell.
Welcome to the Good, the Bad and the Ugly podcast with me, Tony Morell, and this week's guest we've got Sam Samworth. Thanks for coming, Sam.
You're welcome.
We're really looking forward to you sharing your stories with us, whether it's the good, the bad and the ugly.
Is that the stories or the...
Everything, mate, just anything
yourself?
goes, the good, the bad and the ugly.
Okay.
How's things, mate?
Good. A pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. I've been following you on all social media and stuff, and I find you a very interesting man, if I'm going to be honest with
I've been called far worse, mate, let me tell you now. So I can talk for Britain. What did I say to you when you messaged me about coming on here?
I
want to be challenged.
You want to be challenged? No, I think
the both places.
You wanted me to some in-depth questions.
Yeah, you go way one. You know, I'm quite comfortable talking about things, and yeah, any subject matter, anything I want to talk about, mate, more than happy.
No, I appreciate that. There's a couple of questions that we've got. You know, I've already, but the reason I've got you on is because you come across as a person who's fair. You've been amongst it in the line of work that you've been involved in. And a lot of people who I have spoke to, I've always got a lot of respect for you, considering, you know, you've been behind, you know, people behind the door, and, you know, and you've probably seen and put up with some shite over the years. And, you know, I've seen you doing your own thing with your own podcast, Real Porridge, and I just think, it's, you know, you help a lot of people. A lot of people reach out to you, and I've seen the way it's grew, and I thought I'd love to have that fella on our podcast.
It's very nice. I appreciate the sentiment. In fact, that's a good place to start, isn't it? I was brought up.
Yeah.
So Tony, that was my father, who called Tony,
Yeah.
He was never a father. He weren't in it. So brought up by my mum and my nan. Yeah, there were some male role models like, you know, uncles and that. However, brought up old school. So obviously my nan come out at war, my mum born end of war. Manners, respect old people, respect women, please and thank yous, all that sort of thing.
Elders and all that, yeah.
Yeah, don't be a bully. Treat and speak to people like when we spoke to and Tretley said, and that's what we were always told. And, you know, you've stood me in good stead. Always been a people person. I've known that from a very young age, get on with people. I met people in my life I did not like. And that can be difficult for me, because even though, you know, I've got patience, not understanding and empathy,
Yeah.
for me, someone I don't like, you're gonna know, you know.
You'll tell them how it is. Yeah. There's no sugarcoating nothing.
No, there
Best way to be, I think, sometimes, though, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then that's just how it's always been. So the prison service, sometimes the further I get away from having worked in it,
Yeah.
So what is it now? It's probably 8 years now. So, you know, I might view things a bit different to when I were in there. But previous to that, I mean, I worked nearly 20 odd years in engineering. And although engineering is not something you'd look at, I had a lot of laughs, worked some dangerous jobs,
Yeah.
long hours.
I know a few lads who've done the engineering.
Long hours, you know. I've seen my first job, I saw a geezer lose his arm, which, you know, exactly, you know, you don't go to work to see things like that. So I think I'm not easily shocked, but treating people, you know, having respect and patience.
It goes a long way. It's a life skill, isn't it? You know what I mean? Throughout life, I think, like you say, old school, respect, manners, morals.
I think as well, and another thing that probably I've said, I am comfortable with people in awkward situations.
Yeah.
You know, we've said a lot of people I've met suffered abuse and the like. It's not something that's easy to talk about, especially men.
Yeah, yeah.
But people open up, feel comfortable or whatever. You know, in a very short time, people who've been on podcasts, people who I've just met and spoke to and never will, but, you know, can I speak to you? I'm not in a good place. You know, after 5 minutes to tell me a life story, stuff you never talked about before.
And you probably have friends or family that you've known of looking, and then you speak to, you know, yourself, if you feel comfortable.
People have said you ought to be a counsellor to do this, but I'm already doing that. And that's not, I am comfortable saying that now. When I was younger,
yeah,
you know, it's not a brag. It's not look at me. I'm just comfortable doing that. I'm comfortable talking to people. If you want to open up, You know, I've never turned. I've had emails from people, you read them, and friends have gone, "You're not going to message or return that, are you?" Why would I not? You know, somebody, Mikey boy, alcoholic, prescription painkillers, at the bottom, ready for topping himself, a lot of big things coming up in his life, just didn't want to be here. Just started talking to him. You know, that like 14, maybe 18 months ago now, and he's turned his life around. That's not me, that's him. But, like he said, at his lowest, sends a message, "Thanks, Sam, for all your help. Thanks for being understanding." What do you mean, thanks? Bump. You know, it's nice someone's there. A lot of people don't have anyone to talk to.
But really, what you've done there for that gentleman, you could have just went, scroll past it all, went past it, and you'd be fucking, you know, he wouldn't be here now, and that's down to yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's also just like speaking to him, just saying what I think. It's not scripted, you know, so I have a read like you, your life seems pretty rough or whatever. However, you told me you've got missus who supports you, you've got a family, you've got kids. You know, you can't just check out and think everyone's going to be better, because that's what people do.
Yeah.
You think people will be better off without me, I'm a burden or whatever. So, away to go.
It's a sad, you know, it's sad, isn't it? So sad in this life we live in now, you know what I mean?
It is, especially men under 40. I don't know, 8% of suicides are men under 40.
It's crackers. It is, like I say, it's a very scary statistic, like you know what I mean? But, you know, hopefully a lot more men, and, you know, there is a lot of women out there who suffer as well, but I think now it's more than ever. I think a lot more people are speaking out, and like you say, if people can, you know, listen and you know, even a shoulder to fucking cry on, you know what I mean?
What we said before, you know, before we started this, about the badges for me, you know, if I was in a room, and everyone had a badge, so knobhead sometimes or whatever, you know, anorexic, mental health, bipolar, that sort of thing, so people could look and be understanding, because what I find myself...
People don't see what's behind that.
No, what I find myself doing now, so one of my very good friends, who I've known a very long time, his wife has pretty much had eating disorders since being a teenager. So I think back when we were socialising, 20 of us out, 10 couples. So I'm thinking me now, because I remember, you know, we're at the table, I've ordered 2 curries because I'm a pig and everything else. I'm thinking, you know, she sat there, she's concerned about eating, body image and everything else in a social situation. And you can't help thinking, if we'd have known that then, you know, you'd like give people space or, you know, help them.
It's a tough one, because like you say, how you're meant to, 20 years on, and you're thinking about it, thinking, fuck, now I could have, instead of ordering them 2 curries, but you're not to know, do you know what I mean? Like you say, it's...
Yeah.
But these things go on, you know, where people, they hide these things, and, you know, they don't want people, because they feel embarrassed or whatever. When you think, what's there to be embarrassed about? You got this, you know,
it's social acceptance.
Yeah, I think that's
and worrying about what other people think. That is the worst thing.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But I think you'll, you know, in life, you know, you try and help as many people as you can, no matter what situation they're in. And like I say, but it's
got very serious this very quick.
We did. We've gone from 1 to, and so I'm going to ask you, Sam.
Yeah.
As a kid, obviously, you were saying you grew up with like your nan and your mum and stuff like that. What was your hobbies as a kid, and what was your?
Do you know what? I don't think.
Into sport, and would you?
Yeah, you know, a little bit older than you and your oppo. So, you know, we just used to play out.
Like the
That's it. You had
playing in the street.
You move somewhere, you'd see a kid, you'd look up, you might play football or take dogs out.
Out on your bikes.
No, I didn't have a bike till about 30, I had no money else. However, that's how it were. But so growing up, I would say, you know, I used to feel guilty about this, I don't now. I used to think, you know, look at my childhood and look at other people and think, I want to consider myself lucky or whatever. And things like that. But I think, you know, I just had a good childhood. Not a lot of money. I wouldn't say we were a rich family.
Yeah.
However, it was that wartime spirit from my nan and my big nan. You know, so my aunt's Frida, my nan's sister, would bake for everyone, bread, stuff like that. You'd have family dinners together. Well, more family time.
Yeah.
Families were a big thing. You'd all come together at Christmas, birthdays. So even if you hadn't got anything, you know, you're in
that family time where you did that.
Yeah,
a bit more
which
special.
I think, sadly,
In today's society, you know, it doesn't.
no. I don't think what we've just been through the last 3 years has helped.
No.
You know, isolation. I know I last didn't see a mother for like 18 months. My mother now has said, no matter what happens now, you know, there's no way I'm not seeing you for any length of time. So
yeah, it was obviously that cold, whatever. You know, it had such a massive effect on a lot of people, didn't it?
you did anyway. I'm distracting you.
You know,
Back to my childhood. I hated school. I didn't like school. I just never got on with it. 15, discovered rugby. That really winds people up. I don't know why. Played football. Got told to go and play rugby because I was a dirty footballer. And rugby became a passion. My last 2 years at school, they just kept me going. When I left school, went to play rugby at Sheffield Tigers. Probably saved my life that, as in
what respect? Was you going off the rails?
Yeah, definitely. No question. You know,
Drink.
18, 19, 20. Not so much drink, just, I think at that time, again, nightlife were different. You know, you weren't, I can't remember.
Was you fighting? Was you?
Yeah, fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm not a scrapper. I didn't have a reputation. You go out, you'd have a few beers, outside in the nightclub, bit of a disagreement over a taxi, and you'd be fighting.
Yeah.
But, you know, you'd shake hands with each other after, or pick them up, they were all stamping on heads. You weren't worried about someone sticking a blade in you.
Yeah.
It was,
You carry on afterwards and all that.
yeah, you know, I had a few court appearances. I basically got some fights. I'm laughing now, right? I had a fight with
at the time, it was scary when you
No,
were
I had a fight with a minor. It was about my age. Yeah, I mean, not 7 belt. We looked a mess. And then, right, which I agree with, then, so we both got arrested, chucked in a Mariah in court. Yeah? And it was like, used to get warning, £83 fine, I think. Shake hands and you're done. Yeah?
Yeah.
Drunk and disorderly. So I'm in dock with this minor, and the judge had been in front of him just a few months before, and I got warned. So I got my head down. So he's talking, he says, does Samworth live here? He said, I know you don't, I don't think you do, sir. He said, no, I do. Anyway, he said, look, if I see you again, you're going to get locked up. And that was it. You know,
was that the warning that you needed?
Yeah, but again, I had mates who were nicking cars. We ended up with a lad from school, John, pulled up in a car. Me and my mate, Sarah Webster, gets in, rolled a 2000, don't know whether you can remember them. Yeah, he's got a jacket up and a hat on. Next minute, he's off. Busies, using your language after us. He says, right, I'll drop you two off. He did. Handbrake turn, dropped us out. We got out of the car. He got locked up 3 years for that, so that was close. But I had friends who became drug dealers. You know, I didn't know we were going to be drug dealers. You know, inevitably somebody's going to end up in crime or that criminal world. But me, it was always rugby. So, you know, training twice a week. Saturdays, I was out with rugby.
Was it a decent level you were playing at? Like, if was it
junior rugby, but let me tell you, it was hard as it gets. In the professional era now, there were lads I played with who went on to play sort of semi-professional. Yeah, a lot of it is having money, time, you know, professional clubs, you get time off from work to go and train and that sort of thing. But it didn't matter to me. I enjoyed it, and it got everything out.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of anger.
So when you went on that field, it just fucking whatever was built up inside,
it did.
Vented out on there.
I had a bit of a bad time around about 2021, so I was seeing her last at the time. Don't think no bad of her. Ended up marrying her. But I lost my mum, so my mum were only 38. That was a shock. I was 20. She fell down, banged her knee in hospital, and knew she was going to die. Me.
You
died.
She was going to die?
Oh, I knew it. Coming home, first time I saw her, she was in 2 weeks. I'd always known she was going to die quite young. As a kid, that might sound a bit. Anyway, it was a shock. Ended up marrying this that lasted 6 months. ended up with a couple of mortgages, and then fractured my skull playing rugby.
Fucking hell.
Big clot on my brain. I was lucky, walking around all weekend. Monday when I went to hospital, this doctor was like, well, he's still alive now, so I'm not going to admit you. So that was a bad time. I had 2 houses repossessed. And then my mate Brookie turns up one day. I'd gone from about 17 stone, 22, 23, 24 stone. He said, we're going to get you playing back rugby. Bit of Rocky 4. Not in the gym, on the field, rucksack, carrying him up hills.
Going on runs and fucking all that, yeah.
And got me back in the game, as it were, so...
So your mate sort of pulled you out of this?
He did, yeah, because I had no choice. I had no choice. He'd turn up, 5 times a week. He's on my door. I couldn't go anywhere.
Do you still speak to him today, like?
Yeah. I was supposed to Skype him this morning. He's in Tasmania, Australia, but we speak every week. We have a laugh about them times. He was a rugby lad, good lad, hard lad. Yeah, so...
to come out of that, where you was, obviously losing your mum and all that stuff. And...
I'll tell you what, so, like I said, Tony, my father, he's still around somewhere. However, he's never been part of my life. Everyone loves the mums. You have a hole. When your mum and dad have gone, you have a hole in your life. And it's over 40 years now, but when people talk about visiting the mum, well, like my mates visiting their mums and stuff like that.
It's so, yeah.
Yeah. But my nan, bless her, when I went through that bad time, divorce, fractured skull, stopped at my nan's, 1-bedroom flat. I'd work nights, go for a run in the morning, back home, full English breakfast, get in my nan's bed.
Old school.
Yeah, still warm. Dinner at 1 o'clock, she'd get me up at 11, go and train with Brookie, my mate. Come back, have my dinner, big signing box, 6 o'clock work, did that 12 months, sorted me out. I was paying her, I don't know, paying her, maybe 40 quid a week. She was probably giving me 60 quid a week, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so jobs are good. Got me through that period and then...
Well, that's what I'm going on. How did you pursue going from there to
prison officer?
Into the prison service?
Right, okay, so...
to go from one, doing what you were doing, working, living in...
Well, I worked in engineering, like I said, about 1998. I work indoors. A lass I was lodging with Julie, bless her. One night says, come with me. She was a door woman. Great interpersonal skills. And, it's a good pair of guns on her as well, as it were. Started working doors with her. I was never at the front of the house. Reputation and all like that. I'm quite happy being inside, get your money, talk to people, chuck a few people out. I was at college. I became a masseur, not like that.
Yeah.
It has been mentioned before. Indian head massage, a bit of this new wave stuff. I was into that, and all my clients were female, so you imagine, because I advertised it, Sam a lot thought it was a lass, so people come in and book a massage for their mother.
See yourself.
Yeah, 6 foot bald headed, 18 stone guy I love. I'm Sam or whatever. So, but that were a good ground in that because, do I have to get undressed? That sort of thing. I don't know whether you guys can imagine, you probably think of it different to me, but having if you've got someone on a bench that's pretty much naked and you're doing therapy or whatever, you have to be super professional. Yes, you know what I'm saying? So that was a bit challenging. I was earning money from that, doorman, and I was working at college doing, delivering courses in the community. Fed up having no money, it's all right doing doors and everything else, no time. One of my mates, Kev Sabrolski, says, prison officer, get on it. You'd be good at that.
What did you think straight away when you asked? Did you think, fucking hell, is this for me or what?
I was just fed up. I was working in forensic units as well, which is mental health stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I'm very rewarding that. I only worked in female-only units. Again, the nurse, the first shift I did, she said, I've read a couple of files, Sam. Don't read them all. Just read a couple. Abuse, as kids. it was like last stop, last chance saloon, really. A lot of them have been to Broadmoor, Ashworth, Rampton, the high security hospitals.
Yeah.
Sad, but the staff were amazing there. I could have stayed there and carried on doing that job.
Would that not have been easier for you to, when you look back at it now?
I have no regrets, me.
Yeah.
In answer to everyone. Regret not having done something.
Could you dwell on it for you?
Yeah, there's no point, you know, that added to the experience. You know, self-harm and stuff like that was next level. And then off to private sector, because public sector weren't setting on. I didn't know nothing about a job. I didn't know the difference between private and public sector. When I went for a job, I didn't know what money I'd be earning, didn't know what shifts I'd got, I knew nothing. But I was living in Sheffield, I commuted for 12 months, wrote 3 cars off. Well, I blew 1 up and wrote 2 off. Woodhead and Snake Pass. I don't know whether you've been over them. Beautiful roads in summer.
But in the winter.
Yeah, that's good. Pea Supers, you know, black ice. So I moved to Manchester about 2002 for 18 years. Into private sector prison. Scary shit. Outside walls waiting for interview, absolute crap himself. You know.
How do you prepare yourself?
You can't.
I mean, job interviews are scary the rest of the times, aren't they? But a job of that.
A lot of people on my course were so naive, it was unreal. You know, at that time I was 40, me, being about a bit of a lad when I was.
But you've got a bit of what's in.
Yeah, I've got presence.
Yeah, presence.
Yeah,
Where
know.
some people have just it's.
However, to be honest, like you saying that, presence means nothing. You know, I've never judged a book. My nan told me, I mentioned her a lot, because, you know, she said never judge a book. When I'm talking about stuff, the fighting and court, she says, you know, the smallest man can be.
Yeah. The quietest man can be.
Yeah, of course.
The quietest
Especially
woman
in
can
prison,
be.
some of the people I met in prison. But private sector prison, very few staff. So there were 2 of the honour wing, 86 prisoners. Lads who,
86 prisoners.
yeah, 2 staff.
On a wing.
Yeah.
And 2 members of staff.
Yeah.
How the fuck are they meant to maintain that, you know?
This is why it gets a bad rep. However, public sector and private sector now, same staffing levels. Shite. So, very, very, you know, I remember my first shift, you just took piss. You were brand new, it was hard work, ran as ragged. There were 3 of us on shift, all brand new, first day together. Worst prison, no, it weren't a prison.
Was you thrown to the wolves?
Yeah, pretty much. Supposed to be locked up for 8:15, about 8:45. I phoned Oscar 1 at night. I said, look, can you get some staff on? As soon as staff come on, we went behind the doors. In your face. Most men, and maybe a few women, are being in a position when they're growing up, when you're in a pub or wherever, and, you know, someone fronts you. You know that feeling?
Yeah, that.
It's all day long. It's all day long. Yeah? They very soon get to know you. If you're someone who's going to do stuff for them, you know, you do something for somebody, that's it, you made a rod for your own back. Somebody
They'll play on that, won't they?
Yeah, oh, I need this, go and see Mr. Sam, I feel sorted, bam, just busy, all the time, all day long. But you also get a lot of respect.
Yeah.
And it is respect. I think you said that, but it is. People get to respect you, they respect your
Goes
honesty.
both ways, though, to be
Of course
honest.
it does.
Yeah, of course.
But you know, when you say respect in prison, you know, you have to give people benefit of doubt. I give everyone benefit of doubt. If they let you down, you know, prisoners, because they might not be in a position to earn your respect. If you go on a wing, not your wing, you might only see them people that day. So you give them benefit of doubt, you know, do what you can or whatever, but it's adrenaline.
Yeah.
Most prison officers, I think, put 2 stone on in the first 2 years. Long hours. In the private sector, I'll say this, when we went out, all people party hard, fighting with each other.
Prison officers.
Yeah, prison officers.
Come out after shift and.
Fight, you know, Christmas, I remember going to Christmas do, you know, people are just throwing drink down, including me. I never drove into work, always got taxis, me. You know, if I'd been on bevy. But yeah, just party hard, really party hard. And it was a bit of a comradeship because there weren't many of you. So I made some good friends in private sector, and they'd have been fantastic screws in public sector. But sadly, a lot of them, it was a bit of a stepping stone. People had seen what they'd done good on the CV. You know, some went to police, into jobs with council, working with kids and that sort of thing.
Fucking hell.
But thinking back now, you know, a lot of absolutely just butt clenching confrontation after confrontation.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Was there any times that you ever thought, we are fucked here?
Yeah. in private sector, they had a wing that were young offenders, yeah. So the private sector, when I worked there, so we're talking early 2000, was protected by the government and the prison service. So they got paid for spaces. So if you had 1,200 spaces and one prisoner, you got paid for 1,200 prisoners, yeah? Anyway, they decided population management, this wing, 86 people going to be on it, it was going to be adult for young offenders. So they got shipped out, all young offenders, yeah? We were told over a month that they were going to fill it, yeah, gradually. It was filled within 2 days. Now, here's the thing. I'm working at Strangeways, I'm a governor. Somebody says, right, Forest Bank prison, send 4. Are you sending your 4 best prisoners to us? You're not, are you? You're going to send the 4 worst prisoners.
Yeah.
This wing, we've got people on dirty protest from Frankland, people from blocks, lifers, lifelong troublesome prisoners, people who cause riots at other prisons. It was full in 2 days. Yeah, chaos, terrifying.
And you got 2 of you to try and fucking
manage
that.
Well, the manager says, who ran the whole wing, there were 2 wings, yeah. She picked 6 of them and says, you 6 are working on there. She says, I need consistency. So you're pretty much working every day on here. Shocking. Just in your face, not 1 or 2 either. Anyway, we had a governor called Mike Goodwin come on. I liked him, me. Grumpy, horrible, yeah, but very shrewd. He come on a wing on his own, and he come up to me, and he said something like, it's leaving a nasty taste in my mouth, this wing. I said, what do you mean? He says, I don't like it, I don't like the atmosphere. I'm thinking, you know, welcome to the jungle, as it were. Anyway, he went off. He was effing and jeffing, kicked off. He sent somebody later in the day to apologise for how he behaved, yeah. But he said, right, get rid of 20 people. So it fell on my toes to pick 20 of these lads. Yeah.
To get shipped out, you mean?
Yeah, to get shipped out. So I gave him 20 names, it went hard.
Especially with what you just said.
Yeah, I gave him 20 names. So a few of these lads had come from another wing. So the manager on that wing told one of them that I'd put a list in, 20 names.
And it's fucking names.
Oh yeah. So that night at Bang Up, like 8 of these lads, all handy lads in their own right, sort of people you won't want to fight, round me. We've heard you've put our name on a list.
To be shipped out.
Yeah, I got nowhere to go. I said, yeah, I did. Why? For this. Troublesome, you know, it's intimidating all the time, it's constant. You know, you're all the sort of people who can start a riot. Some of you have. You know, so your names were dead easy. They're all like, fuck, well, all right then. Just, they didn't know what I said, you know, but I got nowhere to go. I just thought I'm going to get filled.
That's what I was going to say to you, you know, the fucking, you're being intimidated, like the fucking surrounding you and stuff like that.
It's not. It's, listen, these prisoners, they've all been involved in violence. Right, a lot of them shave their hair when they go in. You know, they've all got scars all over it. It doesn't matter who they are. If you're a criminal, you've been a criminal a long time, you know, you've been involved in violence and used to violence and used to them scenarios, do you know what I mean?
Don't get too fucked, do you?
Listen, in that job, the 3 years I was there, they had really experienced staff when I started. Experienced in life, not screws, yeah? But it felt a safe place to work. I know, despite saying what I'm saying, but, you know, towards the end, I'm working like 18-year-old. I get an 18-year-old lass come on the wing, and as soon as you start opening up, they just go in the office and lock themselves in. And like I say, I won't blame them, you know.
Yeah, I think now, when you look at it, when you see prison, you know, you just crying out for prison staff. And I just think to myself, it's not a job I'd fucking do, let me tell you, you know what I mean?
Right, so like I said, private sector used to be a lot less staff. Now, public and private, same staffing levels, yeah? When I joined private sector, 18 grand, public sector were about 30 grand. It's now very similar. You know, they knocked public sector down to 22, private sector's on about 22. They're recruiting kids now. They're the only people. You have to understand, if you're 18, 19, 20, where are you going to get 22 grand, you know? Oh yeah. Overtime rate is 35, 40 quid. 10 hours a week, another 400, another 1,600 a month, another 10 grand a year. You can't get that money as a youngster in any other job.
You know, it's the environments and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they don't look
You don't look at
It's
until you go in there and they experience it themselves, and you see these cases of, like, you know, you go in, like you say, they see the pound signs and stuff like that, and then when they see the realisation of it all, when it all comes a bit on top, or like you say, you know what I'm, you know, there's people that can easily put the fucking hooks in, and it's easily, oh, you can do this for me, you can do that for me, or
what training shite. Yeah, it's not worth a toss.
yeah.
They could compress it into 3 weeks. They do 9 weeks, 12 weeks, an apprenticeship now. It's not an apprenticeship. You know, apprenticeship when I were in engineering,
It's a
were
couple of
4
years,
years,
yeah.
and you're learning all the time from experience. It's not that now. It's a load of bollocks. They need to be realistic in the training centre, and maybe half of them won't even get into the jail. They'll be off the course.
Even like doing real scenarios on the training where, you know, like you're saying,
The problem is they're now leaving as fast as they can recruit them. The people who are going for jobs are mostly young lasses. In a male jail, you need males.
Yeah.
You need lads.
You've got strong, what's the name,
It's not even
violence,
you know, just searching core work you do. Female jails, yeah.
Two people are fighting over that. You've got to try and separate them from fucking.
It's not happening. You know, even before I left, 212, 213, you saw it. Young officers coming in, there'd be a kick-off. You go and put yourself in a sterile area, so that's an area where prisoners.
Well, the button goes and they fuck off over.
Yeah. Because they were told, if you fear for your safety, remove yourself to a safe space. So I'm on landing with a lad, Fate, I go in.
He fucks off.
Yeah, fucks off and leaves you. They try disciplining him, it's not happening. That's what they're telling him. My mate now is still in it, big lad. He's a plastic scouser, St. Helens. He's a big lad. He's got something about him. He says, now, Sammy boy, there'll be like 2 or 3 of us, you know, trying to split 10 lads up fighting, and there'll be 15, 20 people all having a chat, you know, pretending it's not happening. Very dangerous place to be now. Very dangerous.
It's a scary place. I mean, I've never experienced it. I was very close to, but like I say, I'm very glad I couldn't do jail, if I'm going to be honest. A lot of people say, oh, it's a fucking piece of piss. With the realisation of being locked away and all the shit.
Family, right?
Yeah.
So you get sentenced, you get 4 visits a month. Yeah? 4 hours. So if you've got a daughter, mum, if these 5 people who want to visit you, can't all visit at once, you've got to split that up.
Yeah.
So for people with families and that's what kills them. You know, you're
trying to keep everyone happy to come and see them.
Yeah, of course it is.
Well, every visit they want to come and see you.
It's loss of liberties. People don't understand, you know, they think it needs to be hard. It's just total boring. Prison was boring. The best days I had were boring. On K-Wing, 200 prisoners, 6 of you, running about, sunny day, you know, like a zoo, bored. Lent on landing, getting a bad bike, you might get a brew. Boring. Yeah, there's no stimulation or anything like that. And people very quickly get used to it as well. I always cite the Somalian, so suited and booted, been to court, probably not expecting prison, so he's Somalian, poor English. Yeah, so he's gone through the reception process. When they come in Strangeways, and Forest Bank used to be strip searched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got someone who speaks poor English, and you and another lad are going to strip search him. Now me, again, going into personal skills, you you know, I won't want to be strip searching anyone. It's not something I choose to do.
Yeah.
But if you were in reception at night, you knew that's what you were doing. So trying to explain that you're going to strip search someone. So he thought he was going to get filled in or raped. Definitely. Yeah? He didn't know what was happening, terrified, didn't corner cowering. Eventually we got him through it. So that's his first day.
That's the process, but obviously because he couldn't speak fucking English and whatever.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks later, he's on K-Wing, behind servery, so serving meals, which is an hard job. Because, you know, you walk through, I'm behind servery, give me some more chips. I give you some chips. 10 people behind want some.
And there's fucking none left.
Yeah. It's like, jog on, give me some chips. Jog on, I'll see you after. It's like that. But 2 weeks later, he's on servery, on chips. You know, hardest job. Give me some. Fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
2 weeks from being terrified to that. So once you've been to jail, it's not a threat. You know what's happening.
Yeah.
However, trust me, that loss of liberty, any normal person is going to destroy you. And now we're going back to 70s, 80s, pure bangle.
You fucking, yeah.
Family bathroom. Yeah. Kids are playing up. Send them to the family bathroom for a day. You can take the phone, go and get in bath with your quilt. That's a prison cell. Do 1 day. Yeah. And then you imagine getting a sentence.
It's crazy when you put it like that, though, do you know what I mean? Well, I was going to ask you, you've housed some of Britain's most prolific criminals or whatever. Top 5, who you've had to...
The top 5 I've had to deal with. Now, are you wanting the top 5 criminals or the top 5 worst people I've had to manage? There's a difference.
Manage and deal with.
So when I was at Strangeways in the last 7 years, bar 3 weeks, I did on a healthcare hospital wing, mostly people with mental health issues. We've had a lot of high profile prisoners. Number 1, I would say Mark Bridger. So Mark Bridger, from a culture, little Welsh village, so April Jones did unspeakable things. Because he was a high profile prisoner, he ended up on healthcare because they don't want anything to happen to these people. They want them in court. Yeah? Put them in normal pop, they get eaten alive. 10 months with him, horrible.
So what, you know, for what he'd done, was he fucking like...
Played the mad card. So from day one, I ate him. In my head, punched him in the face every day, mate.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to say, you couldn't do it. I couldn't now, I'll tell you now. If you put me there now, the first day, I will be punching him in the face. I've got no tolerance anymore for people like that. But you knew what he'd done, his lies, manipulate, people falling for it. You know, people who come on and interview him. If he was like one of these, you know, my 2 managers and me saw him for what he was straight away. They were 2 nurse managers, fantastic.
Just seemed right to him.
Do you know what I mean? Other people.
Anybody like that though, Sam, to do that, it's fucking despicable, you know what I mean? I can't get my head around how they get sentenced and whatever. You know, I know this country doesn't do death penalty or like in America does and all that. There's so many, what that fucking man done to that young girl. So for my channel, I've done a couple of vlogs about him. And somebody said, you know, I said, you know, how it must have affected people in that area because people come from all over searching for that little girl. Oh, yeah.
He says, Sam, it affected the whole of Wales, trust me. You know.
Yeah. Remember the media coverage of it? It was fucking
awful. So, you know, he was definitely the worst. I hated him. People say that's a strong word. I can hate him.
I mean, hate is a strong word, but them types of people, you know...
You're up close and personal. I spent more time with him in 10 months than I did my missus.
Yeah.
I never saw my daughter because I was working.
And you're thinking, this animal, this fucking despicable... He's not even a human being, he's a fucking waste of oxygen, you know what I mean? But, you know, was there any others of, obviously, I know he's probably... Fucking tops probably at the...
There's a lot whose names I probably won't remember. You know, kiddie killers, serial rapists, that sort of things. There were a lot of bad ones on there. A lot of how people had rank is how they are. You know, I met plenty of murderers. That's another thing that people... Did you ever meet any murderers? I think at one bit when I were on K-Wing, one at Lassers one day, just for amusement, did some figures. We had 35 murderers on there. Yeah, out of 200 prisoners. And it was a remand wing. You know, they'd come back from dispersal jails and they'd all ended up on there. A lot of them lads, when you're on normal, you don't know what they're in for. And
unless you don't look at the files.
if you murdered someone, so first day you're on wing, I don't know, you come from nominate. You're like, boss, yeah, what's up? Can I have an app, please? Yeah. There you go, kid. Come back, mate. Cheers, boss, thanks. No problem. I'm going to get on with you. I don't know what you've done.
But you don't know what
could have murdered or whatever. You know, if prisoners were straight, and again, I always say this, 99% of prisoners are straight. Some wouldn't speak, didn't want anything to do with screws.
They didn't want to engage.
They didn't want to engage. Very few were like that. A lot would just be polite to get what they wanted. By that, I don't mean forms of drugs.
Yeah.
Not my scene. You know, just things that you do. They rely on you to do everything. Vast majority are just be polite, pass time of day, get on. And then you lads would have a chat.
Doing the time.
You lads would have a chat with you.
Yeah,
you know, you're not talking about prison or anything. Talking about real life stuff. Boring stuff like football. Yeah. Not my bag, but you know, the prisoners that I probably didn't get on with, it's because of how they were.
Yeah.
You know, attitude, might have attitude to female staff. I couldn't stand that.
Yeah.
You know,
bit of a bully. You know, it's like bully tactics in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, of course
because
it
they
is.
want them saying things where,
of course it is.
I was saying before, speak to me in the right way and whatever, and you can certainly try and help.
It's like, you know, people ask about Cat A prisoners. When I first started, so, you know, Cat A prisoners, high security level in this country, yeah. There is a bit of stigma attached to that. Like it used to be going down the block, you know, segregation unit. They tried to get away from that. A lot of lads I've been down the block, that sort of thing. Tried to get away from that. But I've lost my train of thought then, what were I talking about? Cat A's, yeah. A lot of them, they won't be engaging with me. They'd want to speak to the senior officer on the wing or the governor, yeah. You know, so when you used to work on the Cat A when you were boarding for me, they'd just do what they were doing as officer, you do what you were doing. And you know, when I was on K-Wing, 200 prisoners, chatting all day. You know, yeah. Mr. this, having a laugh, telling jokes, you know, always something going on. On there, they kept to themselves. And staff just got on with the prison work.
Yeah. That
sort of thing. So, again, it's just a difficult one. I mean, obviously, Dale Cregan, everyone on Dale Cregan, yeah. He could want healthcare for a period of time. Didn't want anything to do with us. He's not going to speak to me or nurse managers or anyone else. He's dealing with governors. Yeah? So you obviously know what he's in for.
Yeah.
However, there's no interaction. You know, not like with Bridger when he's
there. Bypassing who wants to see you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even think the top 5. A lot of them just got on with the jail, like I said.
I mean, the two you've named there, they're pretty, you know, high profile, you know, for what they were in for.
If you want to talk about Jonathan Vassy, who's another one, narcissist, killed the young nurse, Jane, at Wellington Hospital. He was her ex-partner, got a kid with her. A bad bully, narcissist, big lad, bodybuilder. He ended up on healthcare because he killed her, not because he killed her, but also while he was on remand, not on remand, sorry, he was out in the community, given bail by a judge for, he was up for 11 counts of rape. So in his head, he thought, if I kill her, I'm not getting done for rape, get away with that, do you know what I mean? He was another one, horrible narcissist. Absolutely loved himself, all about him. It was her fault. It was her fault he killed her. It was brutal. He's another one who could have punched him in the face every single day. When it comes to VPs, vulnerable prison wing, I used to work on there. If they didn't know you, they wouldn't speak to you.
Yeah.
You know, now most of them on there are sex offenders. Yeah?
Yeah.
Not somewhere they chose to work. If you're on overtime, you can go and do a shift. Just chat to the staff. There was a lad on there I knew not everyone on there is on there because of sex offenders.
Yeah.
There was one lad from Salford. He was under, there was money on his head. Couldn't go on normal location. So we had to sign a compact and go on a VP wing. You didn't want to be on there. You know,
So after that, all you fucking...
yeah, like you said, I can fight 1 or 2 with stress. I can't fight 20 or 30, you know. So
it's a big money on his head, though. It's, you know.
So the sex offender side of it, there was some days.
I was a prison officer. I'm not saying, obviously, you worked on there all the time, like saying it might have been overtime of it. I just fucking can't get, you know, them types of people, do you know, how the fuck do you...
Right. Some of my friends worked on there. They went from K-Wing where we worked, which was remand wing, like a zoo. Very quiet place to work. They're all like-minded people, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Bottom feeders is being polite, but very quiet. Nothing really happens on there. They're all together, probably doing the networking. So it was an easy place to work.
Yeah.
So some people that choose to work there.
Easy fucking...
Yeah.
Easy shift.
And again, you know, if someone gets an easy number, I'm not going to knock it. I always like working with people.
You like to keep busy, you like to...
Landing, you know. These people who've done that job 35 years and worked landings 35 years, take me out, I ain't got that, but take me out to them. You know, they like the laugh, the crack with the lads, that interaction. Some people, as soon as they can, they get off a landing and they get some cushy job.
Yeah.
I'm not going to knock them for that. You might slate them at the time or whatever, but it's a tough gig. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the prison service is it's an hard one, isn't it? You know what I mean? Let's be honest.
I've said to plenty of lads who I've locked up, do you think you could do that job? Yeah, piece of piss. Have a think.
Do you know what I tend to see with a lot of prison staff when I've seen stuff online? Fucking relationship breakdowns and fucking how physically drained they are from, you know, working on what we're saying, 12-hour shifts or whatever. And I just think to myself, what? I know you were saying about the money and stuff like that, but then I think to myself, if that's fucking physically saying it's causing a stress upon your family life and all that, you just think to yourself, knock this on the fucking head.
Since book come out to 18, a lot of people got in touch asking for advice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, check in with your family.
Mm.
Ask them whether you're changing. Be humble. Speak to people and treat people. I want to be spoken to and treat yourself. That's what I say.
Mm.
If you can do that, it's ruining. I'm going to speak to a lad next week. He's done 3.5 years at Strangeways. He's fucked.
True.
Yeah, he's a youngish lad, early 30s.
Is he out the game? Is he not?
He's out the game.
Yeah.
Had a really bad time of it. I spoke to a lad a few weeks ago, 24, been in 5 years, screwed, head, fried, gone. You know, mental breakdown. Now it's very task orientated. There's no relationships, dynamic security, staff prisoner relationships. You know, I see lads now when I go to Manchester come up and speak. 1 or 2 would avoid you. Most people go out of their way to introduce the missuses and the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not all screws. Some screws, if they saw certain prisoners, would be running through Manchester town centre.
Yeah.
But staff prison, there's none of that. My mate says there's none anymore. Nobody knows anybody. You know, if someone were going to fill me in on K when he's some new lad, that fucking bald-headed screw, that Yorkshire twat's going to get it.
Mm.
Yeah? Like, oh, he's all right, Mr. Samworth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's none of that. Now, yeah, fill him in.
It's just, you're fed to the walls, basically,
Yeah.
isn't it? Well, I was going to talk to you about your 2 books, Prison Officer Story and Strangeways Unlocked.
So, first book is a memoir. I've got to say, when people say I'm a writer, that's I'm an author, me. It's my story. I sat down with a very good writer, Yorkshire lad, Tony Adden. We spent 2 weeks together, holiday in, M62. We met at 10 in the morning, 3 every day. I told my life story. He takes it, and then the book. There is a bit more to it than that.
Yeah.
But writing is a skill. You know, I had a lot of input, getting it factually right. Before the book come out, when I read the final draft, I was shitting it. So we've already said, worrying about what people are going to say, worrying about what my mates were going to say who I worked with.
Yeah.
And you know, just in general, because I laid myself open in that. If you read that book, you know a lot about me. I did have a breakdown. I was in a bad place. It affected my missus. My missus gets great amusement, or she did at the time, from me reading the bit her contribution. The writer said to me, it'd be nice if your missus said a bit. So I went home one day, I said...
Asked her to tell a little bit
about it. So I didn't read it. Four pages. I give it him. He just put it straight in.
And you didn't read the terms in the book?
No, he just put it straight in. I didn't read it. So, you know, she said, I thought I left the job at home. She said, you know, spend all day tidying up, get something in for a nice meal, you know, get makeup on and that, something like that. And you just walk in, stinking as shit, sit on settee with fucking face on all night. And, you know, it made me cry at first. You know, she would get great, read it again. Oh, I'm not reading it again. But yeah, she had a dog's life, prison widow. My daughter, 5 years, I didn't see her. I'm up at 5, at a house, 5, 6 every day. My daughter's in bed, didn't see her. I come home at night, she's in bed, didn't see her. And in my diaries, I did like 12, 13, 14 day stretches. But one day I did 35 days without a day off and didn't see anything for it. Other than, obviously it burnt me out. But yeah, it's tough. I've met prison officers' families who've been bad stupid. You know, a lot of prison officers that go on, a lot of domestic violence, a lot of divorces, a lot of affairs at work. You know, Strangeways, I got warned before I went me that it was incestual. And it was. You know, there's a couple here married, and they basically swapped partners. You know, they fell out. She's with him, they don't speak anymore, they're slating each other. His brothers, sisters, uncles. I got in so much trouble, me. And I'd be like, who's that tosser? Oh, that's my brother. So everyone would know I called him a tosser then, and you'd...
Yeah, it's just a fucking...
It was incestual. But a lot of stressing job, a lot of drinking, a lot of pissheads, alcoholics.
They tend to drink because of the fucking day they've had.
I think a lot of people drink because they're not made for the job. There's one lad
the job's telling them to drink.
Yeah, there was one lad, so a 25-year man, I did not like him. First time I met him, didn't like him. Clever, overbearing, talked to prison like shit, caused problems.
Yeah.
Alcoholic. So I saw a post the other day. He's been retired now about 7 or 8 years. It said something like 4-year dry. I thought, good on you. And I think it's because people went into that job, it is stressful, and they haven't got anything to cope with it. You imagine going into a job every day, it's turning your stomach over, you're terrified. There's people who literally, like I've said, will be going other way, going to the toilet, getting out at road. It's scary shit. And it's your makeup. Like me, there's an incident, you're running towards it, you know, fight or flight or freeze. Other people are going all the way, mate, or they freeze. And looking back now, you know, I don't think bad of them people. You know,
do
you
know if it was a bit on top and you think yourself, you
imagine, you know, family wedding, I always say this, right, family wedding, yeah, everyone under 18 and everyone under 65 is a screw, because that's what it is. When you're not like when I were on my weekend on K-Wing, you know, you've got a couple who you'd love as your mum and dad. Yeah, there'd be a couple of young uns. You've got everything. You know, so not everyone's fighters or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. When I was on K-Wing, right, there were 40 staff. Yeah. So I've always said 15 were really good staff. Probably 10 were half decent and other 15 were shithouses. However, as a team, together, it worked well and we had good managers, but you don't get that all the time. When their managers moved on, that wing went to rat shit.
Do you
know what I mean? So I consider myself lucky. I worked there when I did. I was buzzing off it. Even if there were 200 on there, but one bit we had, from Moss side, 35 gangbangers. Rivals. Yeah? Padded up opposite each other. When you open in the morning, 2 lads would walk out there and 2 lads would walk out there. It was like...
He was just waiting for
an uneasy ceasefire.
Yeah.
No one wanted to kick it off because it had been horrendous. So, it was tense, but even though it were, always had a laugh. Always had a crack. Could have a crack with lads. I remember there were one lone white lad who was a gang member. He had no affiliates, none of his mates on wing. He'd come out and I'd always go to him, Baxter walking, Mr. Samworth down. And he literally would stand like this.
Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. But I enjoyed it. And sometimes I don't now, try now and talk about some of the funny stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the crack. However, my mate says now, don't smile very much. He's a good lad. I'm hoping it don't get to him. He says, you don't laugh much now. It's just from one incident to another, serious stuff all the time.
It's overcrowded and fucking whatever.
Massively overcrowded.
Yeah.
When I, 2015, I think, had about 34,000, 80,000 prisoners. Now, they're probably nearer 90,000 and they've got something like 22,000 staff. You can't lose a third of staff.
Enough, yeah.
We were short-staffed then in 2015 when I finished, and now they've got 10,000 staff less. It's in proper crisis. People aren't, I see people talking about building new prisons, government ministers talking about reforming
You gotta get the
prisons.
staff if you're going to build it, you don't do it.
Exactly. They seem to be forgetting the fact that they can't man the jails they've got. A lot of them are in special measures, which basically means they've got that few staff that, that they're in lockdown. My mate's Nick, he's been in special measures for 18 months. However, they're sending staff to other Nicks that have got even less staff.
It's fucking crap, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy, mate. Crazy.
So I want to speak to you about your podcast, Real Porridge.
Yep.
Doing really well, some fantastic content on there, and you've had some really interesting guests on.
That's very kind. I've got to say, the guests make it for me, meeting people. It didn't start out as anything that was planned. When the book come out, we had lockdown then, and a lad started going to a networking, you know what networking is?
Yeah.
He just invited me to speak in front of about 20 people about prison. And I started going because, you weren't getting out of your house or whatever, get baked, but you meet some people. So he just says, have you thought about doing this? So one of the lads who used to lock up did an interview on my phone.
In the van?
In the van.
Yeah.
Yeah. Posted it. And it just went from there, people getting in touch. I don't really chase guests. It's been a bit difficult of late because I'm busy, but I'm getting back to interviewing people. And inevitably, a lot of them people come from the best past. A lot are actually living through trauma now or mentally unwell. But what I do know, and I tell them all, they've all come out the other side better, for unloading, not necessarily at first. There's a lot of people who message me, I can relate to them, Sam. It helps me, somebody speaking. It's not just me.
Yeah.
Talking about borderline personality disorder, I didn't know what that was when I was a prison officer. Bipolar. I've got a crew of really screwed up people now who are amazing. I say people are not wired right, and they're not. However, as a community, trolls, people are super supportive of guests.
Yeah.
It's something I enjoy doing. That is my hobby now, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about money. I haven't done much travelling the last 12 months, but, previous to having a heart attack, I was here, there and everywhere. I'm going to get back to that.
Yeah.
It's something I enjoy doing. I'm quite passionate. I do have rants. A lot of stuff is about, it's all about kids for me. Like I said, if everybody, all the good people come together, put stuff out there, then nobody be touching kids or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a subject nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about abuse, moving quickly on. The media's not going to cover it. They just give you bullshit about celebrities and stuff like that.
It gets pushed under the carpet too much for me.
Yeah, of course it does. But, the people, pretty much everyone.
We spoke before a little bit, and, you're saying about a couple of guests who've been in contact with you, for your podcast. And I just find now, you know, a lot of people suffered in silence. And I think what you do on your channel, you give people that, you know, fucking hell, he's speaking about this here, or it could be like sexual abuse, or it could be, you know, some kind of disorder or whatever. It's everyday fucking life, this, you know what I mean? And some people who've never ever spoke to the best friend, the partner, the fucking, you know, the colleague at work, and then they go onto your channel on YouTube and they go, fuck me, you know, this guy here, you know, and that's why I wanted to get you on, because I've watched it a couple of times and I've thought to myself, he's talking real, he's not talking shite, he's talking what people want to hear, and there's a different variety of stuff that goes on in our society, which some people are scared to talk about, where I'm not saying because you sat here or whatever, I said it to you before, I find you very real and you're not scared to, and you're fair. I've heard a lot of people say you're a fair person, you say it how it is, you're always, you know, and what you were saying before about having respect and whatever, you've been brought up on them.
Yeah.
And that's a life skill, do you know what I mean? And that's why I think in society today, a lot of people who've suffered have never had them life skills, or, you know, and I'm not saying sexual abuse, by the way, but I mean, they fucking had no one, but when you watch your channel, I think they can take a lot from there.
This last interviewed, messaged her a couple of 3 times a week now, called T. She was the last who been in prison, Borstal, forensic units most of her life, fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, fighting screws, male screws. She says to me, Sam, I had some terrible beating. She says, but let me tell you now, I've beaten people. Beaten male screws one-on-one, battered them. Mentally unwell, schizophrenic, unmedicated. When she got in touch with me, it's like me and you today, I had no idea what you look like. You know, I just turned up. So when I went to meet her, she got in touch with me. I spoke to her a few times on the phone and that. She's broad Yorkshire, subtitle type material.
Yeah.
But when I met her, it's proper humbling. She's a big lass, medication that. You know, medication, a lot of the big side effects, putting weight on. For a lot of people, men and women.
Yeah.
That sometimes is as bad as
it plays a big part in people's, you know what I mean? Yeah.
But meeting her, all the batterings and that, she said, I've never spoke about this, Sam. Never told me the mum and dad, never told me family. She now lives, she's got a cat, bless her. She lives, she gets some help, she has a carer.
Yeah.
She does what she can herself. You know, I took her in car, took wheelchair and that. Managed to get her in car, did an interview with her. Proper humbling, mate. You know, and she's happy as Larry now. Just living. And then it's bringing tears to my eyes because
I can see it,
you know, when you meet her, she's like, she's got a cat, she's in community, she's so happy.
Just there in the
She's shit scared of going back. Because with schizophrenia, right, you get on medication now, she's medicated, it's under control, but that can change, it can stop working.
Or
she's terrified of going back.
Or whatever.
She's a bit younger than me, but just speaking to her, the beatings she's had, you know, stripped naked, chucked in a cell, but fighting. You know, medication and mental health in prisons is a big for me. You can't forcibly now give people medication.
And if she's used to that medication.
Yeah, if someone's incredibly she went to Woman's Nick in London, famous one. She's gone out of my head speaking about it. It'll come to me in a minute. So she went there when it opened, yeah. And after 2 years of fighting, the staff were going, there's something wrong with her. Put her in front of psych, you got on meds, changed overnight. Like, amazing. Because the staff got fucked off with going in and fighting her, you know, for everything, just to do anything. Got medicated. He sent her back to Borstal then, stable. When he went back to Borstal, the doctor went, yeah, I'm not giving you no meds, bam. She's back in that hole again. You know, it's cruel. Seeing people mentally unwell, you know, not taking the medication because they think they're all right, and then waiting for them to go on emergency section or whatever. That for me you know, that it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But meeting her, truly humbling.
I could see, I could see the tears in your eyes then when you're talking about
She's
it.
amazing. So she loves animals. Send her pictures. We got 6 cats and a dog. Obviously, our lass wears the trousers in our house. Dog's mine, cats are hers. So I send her pictures all the time, and she's like, "Oh, buzzing, little videos of cats and stuff."
But that's keeping it going.
Yeah, I'm going to go and have a brew here next week. Instead of being a bit busy, next time I'm going to have a brew. She's all Huddersfield and that. So she met when she was in one of the psych wards. You see, this is another thing she was talking about. Absolutely heartbreaking. Some are still mixed, but it used to be mixed psych wards. So pretty much all the women...
Mixed, male, female.
Yeah, get this. So pretty much all the women I met have been abused by men, raped, sexually abused as kids and that. And it happens on psych wards. So you've got women who've been abused in a mixed ward with men. Yeah? And this bit, I know it happens, my mates told me it's happened. She says she once dragged a male member of staff off a female patient who was raping her. Yeah, and battered him. She says, I levered him, so I battered him all over, thought I'd killed him,
He fucking needed for what he was doing, he needed to kill him for doing what he was doing, yeah.
But talking about that, she says he won't come near me, Sam. She was super violent. She says herself, you know, I was super, super violent, unmedicated, somebody couldn't manage me. I got beatings, she says, but, you know, but now she's disabled. She had her legs broke in restraints, arms, ankles, you know, fractured, broken nose 9 times, that sort of thing. But again, it's humbling, but she's saying I deserved it, Sam, you know, a violent person or whatever. So just hearing them stories, blowing my mind.
Crazy. Totally, what's the name, Sam? What's your take on the kids of today? Not all kids, but no respect, no morals, no fucks given, basically.
I've got to blame society, not them. Should be educated in school now.
Because it all leads to one place, doesn't it?
Yeah, right. What they need is life skills now. They need to understand that social media can screw your head.
Oh, yeah.
TikTok is playing with kids. Yeah, why it's allowed, why we're not banning it, I don't know. He's playing with their heads. Drugs, you know, nothing about drugs. You know, they're all going out now, trying drugs. Drugs are, when I was a kid, I'd never heard of drugs. Yeah, obviously there were weed around and stuff like that. They need to be able to cook a meal. They need to know what a drug's going to do to you and understand it. They need to know about alcohol. Yeah. They're all vaping now. Just as like, you know,
like, it's just a normal thing.
Yeah, they're not prepared when they leave school. And, excuse me, expectations are up here. Yeah, reality is, you know, life's quite tough. You know, you need to get a job. You know, my daughter's saying, when do you think I'll be able to leave home?
She fucking realises how hard it is.
You can leave home now, where are you going to live? How are you going to pay for yourself? How are you going to feed yourself?
Yeah.
You know, there's no... So social media, Instagram...
Plays a big part.
Massive body image, eating disorders. I know nearly 1 million kids during lockdown in this country were referred to CAMS, which is Child Mental Health Services for eating disorders. Nearly 1 million kids. Yeah, massive problem. I'm hoping to do some stuff with our lass about that, with my daughter's permission at some point.
Yeah,
because people need to know that at the end of the day, I don't know what people's expectations are, parents, carers, or whoever's looking after a child. It's going to be you, i.e. the carer, who, if they survive, you go through the other side and live a normal life, it's going to be down to you. There's no doctors, no therapists, you know, no psychiatrists or anything else that's going to help. It's going to be down to you.
Yeah.
So me, I think it's tough for kids now. I really do. Education-wise, I don't think things are going to change or whatever. Me, if I could, I'd have a road show. Yeah, I'd have addicts, ex-addicts, coppers, ex-coppers, screws, everybody. Everyone with life experiences. No all's bad, you know. Right, I'm going to show you some pictures now. If you don't want to look, because it's grim, don't look. But you need to show them, you know, people.
This is what can happen to you.
Yeah. it needs reality check.
Yeah. I think it's a shout what you just said there, like a phone show going on, all schools and stuff. And I know sometimes, I think they try and, I don't know what it is now, they try and protect what's named a bit. But when you're saying, look at this, this is what drugs can do to you, look, this is what smoking can do, this alcohol, fucking vaping and whatever. And I just think sometimes they need to be it with a, a wake-up call. So
parents' jobs are getting harder because, I was listening to what mum and dad were saying when I was growing up, because all I did was play out me. Yeah.
Same, yeah.
There weren't things coming from everywhere. Like I said, expectation, reality, all this. Pop stars aren't what they used to be. There's no role models.
Yeah.
For me, there's no teenage role models. Police has got a lot to do it in this country as well. I think that's screwed.
Yeah.
So it's going to be down to parents, but like I say, it's difficult because everyone at a certain point is going to get a child a phone or a pad. They're going to be on social media. You can't watch over your child all day, every day. I think being real as a parent now is going to be an important thing. Having conversations that are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I never had no uncomfortable conversations with my mum or my nan. We didn't have to talk about the birds.
There's no fucking phones or whatever.
No, internet or anything.
Yeah.
So, the birds and the bees was, I remember the shock at school when all the lasses had a chat about periods. Thinking, what's that? Like 11, 12 or whatever in a bit of. One of the teachers, Mr. Walker, got all the lads together and explained. Yeah, because all the lasses have had that. I remember him sitting down, right, let me tell you, birds and the bees, that's how he started it, and he explained what periods were and everything. Whereas now...
I think they fucking know before this, you know what I mean? It's
all about protecting the kids for me, however that happens.
But it starts at home now, Sam, and really.
Yeah, of course it does. But the problem is, like I said, is getting them to listen because... the group of friends, they're all the same. When they're together, they're all on the Snapchats, they're on the TikToks, like we said, and everything else. And a lot of it is toxic.
Yeah.
So our jobs are getting harder.
To try and pull them.
Keep them grounded.
Yeah.
Like my daughter, our lass is always telling me off. Because I've been talking to her like an adult for like the last 5 years. She's like, she's a kid. Because I'm saying, look, you need to get a job, you need to be on time. You need that job for a year before you're gonna. And she's like looking at flats and stuff. I says, you're not working. What are you looking at apartments for? Well, if I get 650, we can buy that. I said 650. What about your bills? What do you mean bills? Council tax, food. Yeah.
All the others that come with it.
Yeah.
You don't see the bigger picture.
So I keep saying it. It's definitely about the kids, and I don't know how we're gonna make it. You can only do your bit, can't you?
That's it, as long as you try and help them and put them in the right direction.
Definitely.
So what's in the pipeline for you then, Sam?
I'm working full time again now. I always said I go working back with kids. I discussed it with our lass because it is a bit of a commitment. Most of working with kids in residential care is 24-hour shifts. So I'm doing that. With podcasts, I want to get out, meet people, keep that community going. I'm looking to get a few people on board just to help me support people, whether it's a Facebook page where I vet everyone so people can vent or something like that. Live as long as I can. Like I said, a big scare.
Yeah.
2 years in September, 20 minutes from death. So, yeah, but, my outlook is good. I do enjoy things I'm doing. I enjoy life, enjoy time with your family. Just be the best person you can be, really. And help as many people as you can.
Yeah.
So.
Sam, listen, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. And just want to say thank you, mate. That was brilliant. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, mate.
Thank you.
Job's a good one.